Concetta Fierravanti-Wells is a Liberal senator from New South Wales, and she joins us now. Concetta, sorry to keep you waiting there, but obviously, as things roll on, we've got to keep plenty of things chatting here. Let's talk about religious freedom. What do you think they're going to do? Because the assumptions here are that it's not quite going to be the full flawed coverage, but conversely, it's the mere existence of it is going to be offensive to certain minority groups. What's your view of what should be happening here?
Look, Paul, I haven't seen the final bill, and until I'm given that opportunity, I will reserve my position. I think that at this point in time, in its current form, and this is, I've made this point about flawed bill, and I was interested to hear what you had to say before. The church leaders and the religious leaders, when they first started engaging with the government, they made it very, very clear that they had certain parameters. And if those parameters weren't met, that they basically said that it would be better not to have a religious discrimination bill rather than a flawed one. Now, ultimately, Paul, it will be the assurances that those faith leaders give to their congregations as to whether the bills do protect their religious freedom. And it doesn't ultimately, whatever your view, my view, what matters here is what those faith leaders will preach to their congregations as to whether the bill does protect and adequately protect their religious freedoms.
Yeah, Father Frank Brennan is a leading voice on as the part of the Catholic faith. He had a chat to KG this afternoon. Have a look at this.
I think the basic principle is not so much in terms of whether or not religious people will discriminate against gays, which was the issue during the same-sex marriage debate. That's not the issue at all. The issue is about what sort of licence do you give to religious groups in order to be able to maintain their religious ethos. Anything additional to what I would just call a simple, lean, clean religious discrimination bill, I don't think is going to attract the crossbenchers in sufficient numbers for the coalition to get it up.
Now, that's the issue too. I mean, you know how the Senate works here. Pauline Hanson has said she's not going to be backing any government legislation because of vaccine mandates at the state level and the federal government not pushing hard enough against. We know that obviously for the government plus crossbench, it's +3. Now, that, of course, would be the Centre Alliance, Independent and Jackie Lambie. Presumably, Lambie's always a no. So this ends up being about the Labor Party and the Liberal Party. Now, the Labor Party says all of this is a wedge about them and ethnic communities, so that's why they might vote no. So what does it mean to try and fail on something as big as this, if that is the path?
Look, this bill still has a long way to go. Assuming that it actually goes through the House of Representatives, when it does come to the Senate, it will probably be referred to a Senate committee, and that Senate committee will go through its own processes. It will call for submissions. There will be hearings. There will be a report. That report will go to the Senate. There may be amendments. So it really does have a long process still to go. So at this point in time, I'm not sure what its fate is going to actually be in the Senate, given the things that you've actually said. See, Paul, there are a number of issues here. I hear what Father Frank Brennan had to say there, but I've also maintained that we are dealing here with a plethora, not just of what we're trying to do at a federal level, but a plethora of state law. And so the point that I've actually made is that I think it's important that given the disparate Commonwealth, state and territory discrimination framework that currently exists, perhaps a better and more long-term solution would have been to consolidate discrimination law into one federal legislation so that we do have a degree of national consistency and national applicability. And we've seen that in the past with other laws. I mean, we saw it, for example, in 2001 when the Commonwealth enacted the Corporations Law, and it became national law. The states referred their powers to the Commonwealth, and we had one national applicable law. Paul, this is a very complex area, and that's why I've actually suggested and have been a strong advocate for looking at a more long-term solution to what is a very, very complex issue, particularly when you're dealing with rights that deal with discrimination, different rights under different discrimination laws. There are silos also at both the state and the federal levels, and that's why I think long-term this would be a far better solution.
Yeah, all right. Nice to talk to you, Senator. All the best.
Thanks very much, Paul.